The stars stretched endlessly across the blackness of space, like countless pinpricks of light scattered across a giant, dark canvas. The crew of the exploration vessel Aurora drifted silently through this endless void, their ship cutting through the emptiness with quiet grace. Captain Alara stood at the command console, her hands resting lightly on the edge, eyes scanning the vast star field ahead. "Long-range sensors are picking up something unusual," said Tessa, the ship's navigator, her voice calm but tinged with curiosity. She pointed to a cluster of blinking signals on her display. "It's hard to explain. Not like any ship we've scanned before." Engineer Milo leaned over, squinting at the data. "Could be a derelict. Could be junk drifting in space. Or could be something else." His voice carried a mix of excitement and caution. Milo always preferred certainty, but this anomaly defied easy explanation. Ilara straightened, her brown eyes sharp in the glow of the console lights. "Show me the readings," she said. Tessa tapped her display, bringing up detailed scans. The object appeared as a dark silhouette against the background of distant stars. Its shape was humanoid, but unlike any known human or alien ship. The hull was massive, with angular patterns, and strange glowing lines ran along its surface, faintly pulsing like it had a heartbeat of its own. "It's intact," Tessa said softly. "No signs of battle, no radiation. It's abandoned, I think." Ilara's curiosity flared. "Abandoned or not, we're checking it out. Prepare a docking plan." Milo hesitated. "Captain, we don't know what's inside. Could be dangerous. Could be traps. Or worse." Ilara smiled slightly. "That's why we're a team, Milo. You fix it if it breaks. Tessa navigates. I lead. Simple." The small crew suited up and boarded the shuttle. As they approached the derelict ship, a sense of unease settled over them. It loomed larger on the shuttle's viewport, immense and silent, drifting like a ghost. Its surface reflected starlight in strange angles, and faint energy readings flickered along the hull. "Look at the scale," Milo whispered. "This is ancient. Whoever built this, they were brilliant." Ilara nodded. "We'll find out soon enough." The shuttle docked smoothly. The airlock hissed open, and the crew stepped into the abandoned ship. The first thing they noticed was the silence. Not the silence of space, but a deep, heavy silence, as if the ship itself were holding its breath. The walls were lined with panels that glowed faintly, flickering as though awakening after centuries of sleep. Dust floated lazily in the air, disturbed only by the crew's movement. The floor beneath their feet had intricate markings that hummed faintly, as though reacting to their presence. "Creepy," Milo muttered, scanning the floor with a handheld scanner. "All systems are offline. No power, no life support, nothing. Yet these markings, they're active." Tessa walked slowly ahead, her eyes scanning the corridor. "Captain, see that?" She pointed to a series of strange symbols etched along the walls. They were unfamiliar but organized, deliberate, like a language waiting to be understood. Ilara studied them closely. Not human, or maybe a very old human colony we've never known about. "We need to document everything." As they moved further into the ship, they passed through long, narrow corridors that seemed to stretch on forever. The air was stale but breathable, preserved in some unknown way. Panels flickered briefly as they passed, showing fragments of data, star charts, and logs that ended abruptly. Suddenly, a faint sound echoed through the ship. A step. All three froze. "What was that?" Milo whispered. Tessa's eyes widened. I don't know. It came from above us. The upper decks." Ilara's heart raced, but she kept her voice steady. "Keep calm. We don't know what it is yet. Could be a structural echo. Could be nothing." The footsteps came again. Soft, deliberate, measured. They were not random. They followed the crew as they walked, stopping when they stopped, moving when they moved. Milo gripped his scanner. "Captain, I swear it's following us." Ilara nodded slowly. "Then we find out what it is. Stay close. No one wanders off." They reached a wider chamber, the center of the ship. A large circular console stood in the middle, covered in dust and dimly pulsing lights. Panels on the walls flickered sporadically, revealing images that seemed almost like memories. Tessa leaned closer. "Captain, look at these star maps. They're different. The coordinates, they don't match any charts we know." Ilara examined them carefully. These could be records from a lost human colony, or someone else entirely. Whoever built this ship knew more about space than we do. Milo frowned. "And yet it's abandoned. Why? Something must have happened here." Another step echoed across the hull above them. This one sounded closer. Sharper, unmistakable. The crew froze, exchanging tense glances. Ilara's voice was calm, but her mind raced. "Everyone stay sharp. Whoever or whatever is up there, we're not alone." The footsteps seemed to circle the chamber, following the crew's movements. They didn't run, they didn't hurry, yet their rhythm was unnervingly human. Tessa whispered, "Captain, I can't explain it, but it's intelligent. It's aware of us." Milo swallowed hard. "Great, so we're not just exploring. We're being watched, maybe even tested." Ilara took a deep breath. "Then we proceed carefully. Let's document everything and figure out what this ship really is. Curiosity brought us here. Courage will get us through." They split briefly to inspect the console. Tessa examined the star maps while Milo worked on the panels, trying to access whatever data remained. Ilara moved slowly around the room, listening and watching for movement. Then suddenly, the footsteps stopped. The air felt heavier, charged with anticipation. A faint hum began to fill the chamber, like electricity moving under the hull. Milo looked up from his scanner. "Captain, you need to see this. The panels, they're activating. Not all of them, but some. Something is waking up." Ilara's eyes narrowed. "Good. That's what we need. Answers." And then, from above the chamber, the unmistakable sound returned. A single, deliberate step on the hull. Then another. And another, echoing softly through the metal like a heartbeat. The crew froze. No one moved. No one spoke. Ilara whispered almost to herself, "We are not alone in this ship." Milo's hands shook slightly as he held the scanner. "But it's no one we've ever met. Whoever or whatever is up there is waiting for us to make the next move." Tessa's voice was calm but filled with wonder. "Captain, I think this ship is alive, in its own way. It's watching, learning, maybe even testing us." Ilara nodded slowly. "Then we proceed, carefully, and we find out what this ship wants to tell us." For a long moment, the three of them stood in the center of the chamber, listening. The footsteps on the hull above them were slow and deliberate, patient and unnervingly intelligent. The derelict ship waited, silent yet alive, ready to reveal its secrets to those brave enough to uncover them. Outside, the stars continued to shine in endless silence. Inside, a forgotten vessel held its breath, and the crew of the Aurora took the first steps into a mystery that would test their courage, their intelligence, and their humanity. The adventure had begun. The footsteps above them had stopped, leaving only the faint hum of the ship's systems. The chamber felt empty and alive at the same time, as though the ship itself were breathing, waiting for the crew of the Aurora to make the next move. Captain Ilara exchanged a glance with Tessa and Milo. Each of them knew the unspoken truth. They were far from ordinary explorers now. "Let's split up, but stay in constant contact," Ilara said. We document everything, and we don't touch anything we can't identify. Agreed? Milo frowned, gripping his scanner. Agreed. But I vote we keep the lights on and our comms open. I don't like the idea of being alone in this place. Tessa smiled faintly. You're cautious, Milo. That's good. We need that balance. Ilara nodded. Then let's begin. They moved cautiously through the corridors. The walls were lined with unfamiliar panels, each etched with symbols that pulsed faintly under their touch. As they walked, Milo scanned the air for any hazardous substances or energy readings. He noticed something strange. The ship seemed to react to their presence. Some panels flickered more brightly as he approached, others dimmed when he stepped away. This ship, it's alive, Milo muttered under his breath. Not biologically, but somehow intelligent. It responds to us. Tessa studied the symbols on the wall. I think it's a form of language. Not spoken, but visual. Some kind of code, maybe even instructions. I just need to figure out the pattern. Ilara moved to the center of a corridor, listening. The footsteps were gone, but she could feel them, or something, watching from above. The ship was a puzzle, and the more they explored, the more complex it became. They reached a large observation deck overlooking a vast chamber filled with machinery that hummed faintly, even in its long-abandoned state. Panels displayed faint images of planets, stars, and intricate designs that seemed almost impossible to understand. Captain, Tessa said, pointing to a panel, look at these readings. They're not random. These stars, these coordinates, they're a map. Some of them match known systems, but most, they don't. Whoever made this ship had knowledge far beyond ours. Ilara studied the maps, her brow furrowing. Ancient knowledge or advanced technology? Maybe both. We need to document this. It could be the key to understanding the ship and the people who built it. Milo knelt beside a console, tapping at it with his gloved hands. Power's coming back slowly. Not full, but enough for some systems to run. These panels, they're waking up. It's like the ship remembers us. Tessa leaned over his shoulder. Remembering, that's an interesting way to put it. Maybe it does. Look at this. The patterns on the panels, they're like a memory network. The ship stored information, maybe even experiences of its crew. It's like a library of everything that happened on board. Ilara's eyes gleamed. Then we need to learn from it. Carefully. We don't know what's still active here or what the ship considers a threat. As they explored deeper, they came to a corridor that opened into a massive room filled with containers and long storage chambers. Some were sealed, others partially open, revealing strange, crystalline devices that hummed softly. These are not human, Milo said, eyes wide. The materials? I've never seen anything like them, and they're stable, somehow preserved for centuries. Tessa walked closer, brushing dust from a console. The symbols match the ones we saw earlier. This ship, it's consistent. Everything here is part of the same system. Whoever built this wanted it to last, to preserve knowledge, maybe even life itself. Ilara's hand hovered over the console. Then it was more than a ship. It was a sanctuary, a library, maybe even a home. Suddenly, a sound echoed through the chamber. A faint creak of metal, soft but deliberate. The footsteps had returned. Milo froze. Captain, it's back. On the hull. Above us. I swear it's following us. Ilara signaled for them to stay calm. Don't panic. Let's see if it reacts to our movements. Slowly, carefully. They moved as one, walking along the edge of the room. The footsteps mirrored them, moving when they moved, pausing when they paused. There was intelligence behind them. This was not a simple mechanical system or random anomaly. Look, Tessa whispered, pointing to a panel that lit up as she stepped close. The display showed a series of icons, patterns that shifted in response to their movements. It's interactive. The ship, or something in it, is trying to communicate. Ilara leaned closer. Then we answer, carefully. We don't know what form it takes, but if it's intelligent, it's responding to us as humans. That's encouraging. Milo examined the console. Interactive technology this advanced, it could be dangerous, or it could be the key to understanding the ship's systems. We need to proceed, but we need a plan. Tessa nodded. Agreed. I can try to decode the patterns as we move. If it's a language, even partially, we might learn how to control the ship, or at least understand its history. Ilara stepped forward, her voice steady. Then we proceed. But stay alert. Remember, curiosity is our guide. Caution is our shield. As they moved deeper into the ship, they reached a large chamber that appeared to be the main control area. Consoles lined the walls, and a central platform rose in the middle of the room. The air seemed charged, the energy flowing faintly through the floor beneath their feet. This must be the bridge, Milo said. Or what passes for one. Look at the scale. It's massive. Whoever built this had grand plans. Tessa examined the consoles. Some of these panels are active. They're reading our biometrics, our movements. The ship knows we're here. Ilara's eyes scanned the room. And it wants to test us. That's why the footsteps. That's why the lights and the panels. It's a challenge. They split up to examine the consoles, careful not to touch anything unnecessarily. The ship's systems flickered in response to their presence. Star maps, planetary scans, and unknown symbols appeared and disappeared across the panels. Milo tapped a crystal device on the floor. It vibrated gently in his hand, glowing faintly. This is incredible. A storage device that's still active after all this time. If we can access it, we might learn who built this ship and why. Tessa's fingers danced over a panel. Captain, I think I've found something. This pattern repeats across multiple systems. It's like a log of the crew's movements, decisions, and experiences. The ship has been recording life for centuries. Ilara nodded slowly. Then we are witnesses now. The ship will judge us as it judged them. We need to prove ourselves capable, brave, smart, human. A sudden noise made them all freeze. From somewhere deep within the ship, a metallic clang echoed. The footsteps above the hull shifted slightly, as though the presence was curious now, examining them more closely. Milo's voice was low. Captain, it's learning about us, not just monitoring, learning. Ilara's heart pounded. Then we give it what it wants. Caution, intelligence, courage. That's who we are. That's what humans are capable of. For hours, they explored, documenting, decoding, and slowly activating the ship's systems. The panels responded, the energy flowed more strongly, and the ship seemed to acknowledge their presence. Yet the footsteps never left. They followed, silent observers of human ingenuity and courage. By the time they paused to rest, the crew of the Aurora had begun to understand that this ship was more than a relic. It was a challenge, a puzzle, and perhaps a test. And above all, it recognized humans as explorers, not just trespassers. Ilara looked at her team. We've made progress, but this is only the beginning. The ship is teaching us, or maybe testing us. Either way, we need to be ready for whatever comes next. Tessa nodded. The patterns, the symbols, I think we can decode them fully. We might even unlock the ship's secrets, its history, and why it was abandoned. Milo's eyes were wide with both fear and excitement. And whatever is up there on the hull, intelligent or not, it seems to respect caution. Maybe it's giving us a chance to prove ourselves. Ilara's gaze swept the chamber. Humans are capable of more than machines. We're brave, clever, and adaptable. This ship, it will learn that, and so will we. The footsteps above continued softly, echoing through the hull. and as the three explorers rested, the abandoned ship waited, alive, patient, and ready to reveal the next part of its story. The adventure had only deepened, and the mysteries of the ancient vessel promised challenges, discoveries, and revelations far beyond what the crew had imagined. The hum of the ancient ship had grown stronger. Panels glowed brighter under their touch, pulsating as if the ship itself were alive. Captain Ilara, Tessa, and Milo stood in the bridge-like chamber, surrounded by consoles that flickered with strange symbols, maps, and star charts. The footsteps above them had become intermittent, soft, deliberate, but unmistakably intelligent. Ilara ran her hand across a panel. "The ship is trying to communicate, I'm sure of it. We just have to figure out how." Tessa studied the symbols again, her fingers tracing the glowing lines. "It's more than a language. These symbols, they're linked to the ship's systems. It's showing us instructions, maybe even a history of the crew that once sailed here." Milo tapped on a console, his scanner humming in response. "If this thing is alive, it's reacting to us. Every movement we make, it observes, records, and adapts. I've never seen anything like it." Suddenly, a faint shimmer appeared near the center of the room. At first, it looked like a trick of the light. Then the shimmer became clearer, forming the outline of a humanoid figure. It hovered above the floor, translucent, yet glowing with a soft inner light. "Everyone, step back," Milo whispered, but curiosity held them in place. The figure spoke, though no sound reached their ears. Instead, the words appeared on the panels around them, glowing lines forming letters in a language they didn't recognize. Tessa's eyes widened. "Captain, I think I can decode it. It's not spoken. It's visual. The symbols translate meaning directly." Ilara nodded. "Do it. Carefully." Tessa focused, tracing the patterns, recognizing recurring shapes and sequences. Slowly, the message became clear. "We were humans once. We left, seeking the stars. Threat came. We vanished. Beware the void." Ilara exchanged a stunned look with Milo. "They were humans?" she whispered. "Long ago? Maybe centuries ago?" "Yes," Tessa replied, "but not like us. Their knowledge, their technology, far beyond modern human science. They created this ship to survive, to explore, and perhaps to record everything." The humanoid figure shimmered and moved closer, its form gentle but deliberate. It paused, then gestured toward one of the panels. Images flickered across it, ships, planets, and strange symbols of energy. Then a warning appeared. "External threat approaches. You must learn, adapt, survive." Milo swallowed hard. "External threat? Like what? Another ship? A predator?" Ilara shook her head. "We don't know. But the ship, and whoever created it, wanted us to see this. They trusted us to learn." Tessa's eyes scanned more panels. "Captain, the logs. They show us step by step what happened here. The crew tried to escape a threat in the void. Some survived, some didn't. This ship, it preserved everything. Maybe it's testing us, to see if we can survive too." Ilara's jaw tightened. "Then we have to prove ourselves capable. Clever, brave, adaptable. That's human nature. This ship, it will recognize that." The footsteps on the hull above them shifted, moving faster for a moment, then slowing, as though observing their determination. The crew realized that this presence, whatever it was intelligent. It wasn't hostile, yet. It was waiting, testing, judging. Suddenly, the central platform in the chamber lit up completely. A series of icons appeared, pulsing rhythmically. Tessa reached out. "These icons, they're a sequence. It's like a puzzle. The ship wants us to activate something, to understand." Milo frowned. "Activate? Are we sure it's safe? This could trigger something dangerous." Ilara's eyes glimmered with determination. "We won't know unless we try, carefully. Step by step, humans survive by thinking, learning, and acting together. They began to work together, following the instructions displayed by the icons. Tessa decoded the sequence, Milo ensured the systems were stable, and Ilara coordinated their actions. As they progressed, the panels responded, lights flashing in rhythm, symbols aligning into coherent patterns. Slowly, the ship seemed to awaken. A soft hum became a low, steady vibration under their feet. Energy flowed through the consoles, through the walls, and along the floor. The footsteps on the hull above echoed once more, then paused, as if acknowledging their progress. "This ship, it's alive," Milo said, awe in his voice. "Not biological, but intelligent. It reacts, learns, maybe even understands." Tessa nodded. "And it's learning about us, our choices, our intelligence, our courage. That's why the steps, they mirror us sometimes, observe our movements. It's like a test of humanity itself." Ilara took a deep breath. "Then we continue, step by step. We show the ship that humans can face the unknown and thrive." As they worked, more images appeared on the panels. Star charts, unknown systems, and planets that didn't exist in any current database. It was knowledge lost to time. And in the center, a diagram of the ship itself, its systems, its power cores, its engines, laid bare before them. This is incredible," Milo said. "We could learn so much from this ship. Its technology. It could advance humanity centuries in one discovery." Tessa pointed to a smaller panel near the floor. "Captain, look at this. It's a record of the crew who built the ship. Faces, names, logs. They were humans. They built this to survive, to explore, maybe even to teach others." Ilara's voice was soft, reverent. "Then we are part of that story now. We are the next chapter. And we have to honor it, survive it, and learn from it." Suddenly, the central platform glowed brighter. The humanoid figure reappeared, clearer this time, its form more defined, almost human in shape. It extended a hand toward them, and a series of images flashed across the panels, the ship being built, slowly, over decades. Crew members training, exploring, learning. A threat, vague, dark, approaching from the void. The ship abandoning its home, preserving knowledge, fleeing into deep space. The figure's gesture seemed to indicate a choice, continue or retreat. Ilara stepped forward. "We continue, we explore, we learn, we survive. That's what humans do." The figure paused, then slowly nodded, as if approving their decision. The footsteps on the hull above became a rhythmic pattern, almost like applause, soft but deliberate. Tessa's fingers traced the panels once more. "Captain, the logs indicate the ship will allow us access to more systems now. But we have to prove ourselves. Solve its puzzles, learn its language, and respect its rules. Only then will it reveal everything." Milo exhaled, a mixture of fear and excitement in his eyes. "So it's a test. Intelligence, bravery, teamwork, that's all we need. Humans can do that. I just hope we're ready." Ilara placed a hand on the central console. "We are. Curiosity brought us here. Courage will keep us alive, and intelligence will help us understand the mysteries this ship holds." For hours they continued their work, decoding symbols, activating panels, and slowly learning the ship's systems. The footsteps above never left, sometimes faster, sometimes slower, but always present. The ship was alive, intelligent, aware of every move they made. Finally, the panels aligned perfectly. A soft chime filled the chamber, the energy flowing fully through the ship. The humanoid figure shimmered brightly, then gestured to a large, sealed doorway at the far end of the room. "This is the next stage," Tessa whispered. "The ship is showing us the path forward. Whatever is behind that door, it's the heart of this vessel." Milo tightened his grip on his scanner. "And we have to go through it, together, carefully." Alara nodded. "Then we move forward. As humans, we face the unknown. We learn, we adapt, we survive, and we will honor those who came before us." The three explorers approached the doorway, footsteps echoing softly on the chamber floor. The ship hummed around them, alive and aware, waiting to see if humans were worthy of its secrets. Above them, on the hull, the unseen presence moved once more. Footsteps soft, deliberate, intelligent. Watching, judging, observing the courage, intelligence, and adaptability of those who dared to walk its corridors. And the adventure continued, deeper, more dangerous, and more extraordinary than any human had ever imagined. The first contact had been made, and humans had proven themselves capable. The large sealed doorway loomed ahead, its surface etched with the same glowing symbols that had guided the crew throughout the ship. Captain Alara, Tessa, and Milo paused for a moment, feeling the weight of the unknown pressing down on them. The footsteps on the hull above had grown sharper, more purposeful. The presence that had silently observed them for hours now seemed closer, as if it too waited for their next move. Alara drew a deep breath. "This is it. Whatever is behind this door, it's the heart of the ship. And whatever tests remain, we face them together." Tessa nodded. "The symbols suggest this door protects something important. Not just technology, maybe knowledge, or even the reason this ship was abandoned." Milo checked the scanner. "And the energy readings are rising. Something is active inside. Be ready for anything." With careful hands, they activated the symbols on the door, mimicking the sequences they had decoded earlier. The panels glowed brightly, and a low hum filled the corridor. The door slid open silently, revealing a vast chamber beyond, illuminated by soft light that seemed to come from the walls themselves. The room was unlike anything they had seen before. At the center stood a large console, its surface pulsing with energy. Surrounding it were devices that looked both familiar and alien: holographic maps, crystalline structures, and panels that displayed stars and planets in real time. "This must be the command center," Milo whispered. "Or the core of the ship. Everything here, it's active." Tessa approached the console, her fingers tracing the glowing symbols. "It's interactive. The ship wants us to continue. But these readings, something else is approaching. Look at this." She pointed to a panel showing a dark shape moving across the void near the ship. Ilara's eyes narrowed. "A threat. From the void. That's what the logs warned us about. But what is it?" Before anyone could answer, a soft vibration ran through the floor. The footsteps on the hull above became more urgent, echoing across the ship. The presence that had followed them all this time shifted, moving as though assessing the situation. Suddenly, the shape on the panel grew larger. It wasn't a ship or a meteor. It was something immense, moving with purpose, heading straight toward them. Milo's voice trembled slightly. "It's huge. Whatever it is, it could destroy us." Alara placed a hand on the console. "Then we use what we have. This ship, it's advanced. It survived the same threat once. It can help us." Tessa's fingers flew over the holographic interface, activating defensive systems and projecting energy shields around the ship. "The ship recognizes our intent. It's giving us control over some systems, but not all. We have to be smart, precise." Milo worked quickly, integrating the ship's technology with the scanners and engines of the Aurora. "If we can stabilize the energy cores, we might be able to manipulate the ship's shields to protect us. But we have limited time." The footsteps above grew louder, more rhythmic, almost like a warning drum. The presence was aware of the threat and of the crew's preparations. It was guiding them, observing whether humans could adapt to the danger. Ilara's mind raced. Humans survive by thinking, by adapting. This is no different. We've faced unknowns before. This is just bigger. Focus, team. Together. Tessa nodded, her eyes fixed on the panels. The threat is approaching faster than expected. We have to finish unlocking the ship's main defensive systems. As they worked, the chamber around them seemed to pulse with life. Light shifted along the walls, patterns forming symbols that Tessa recognized as instructions. The ship was teaching them, guiding them step by step. Suddenly, the footsteps on the hull stopped. Silence fell for a moment, heavy and tense. The crew felt the presence waiting, holding its judgment. Then, in a flash of realization, Tessa gasped. "Captain, the footsteps! They're synchronized with the ship's systems, the presence. It's helping us. It's guiding our actions, teaching us how to defend ourselves." Ilara's jaw tightened. "Then we follow. Carefully, intelligently. Humans can learn, adapt, and overcome. That's our strength." Milo adjusted the energy conduits, directing power to the ship's shields. "The cores are stable, just barely. But if we can divert enough energy, we can create a protective field strong enough to survive an initial strike." The shape in the void grew larger, revealing more detail. It was massive, darker than the surrounding space, with a presence that radiated power. The logs had warned of this. Whatever it was, it had forced the original crew to abandon the ship centuries ago. Tessa's hands flew over the console. "We can activate a lure. The ship has systems to distract or mislead attackers. If we use them, we can buy time to maneuver." Ilara nodded. "Do it. We adapt. We survive. We learn." The ship hummed louder, energy flowing through the walls and floor, aligning with the crew's actions. Panels glowed, shields shimmered, and for a moment it felt as though the vessel itself had become a living ally. Above them, the footsteps resumed, soft but confident, echoing like a heartbeat. The presence had chosen to stand with them, guiding their human ingenuity. The massive entity drew closer, its dark form pressing against the void, testing the ship's shields. A low vibration shook the chamber, and the energy shields flickered under the strain. Milo shouted, "The shields won't hold for long! We need another plan!" Ilara's eyes blazed. "Then we use our advantage. Human ingenuity. Think, team, there's always a solution." Tessa pointed to a sequence of controls on the central console. "The ship has an anomaly generator. We can create a temporary spatial distortion. If we lure the entity into it, we can redirect its path without direct confrontation." Milo grinned. "Now that's clever. Humans can improvise. Faster than any automated system." Ilara's voice was steady, commanding. "Then we do it. Precisely, carefully, together. Activate the anomaly generator, guide the entity into it. We survive and we learn." The steps were coordinated. Tessa manipulated the ship's controls. Milo redirected energy through the cores, and Ilara watched the void outside, tracking the massive entity's movements. The footsteps on the hull above responded, subtle cues guiding their actions, showing them exactly when to move, when to pause, when to redirect energy. The entity approached the anomaly. It hesitated for a moment, sensing the distortion. Then, drawn by the carefully calibrated lure, it moved forward and was pulled into the spatial anomaly. A flash of light filled the void as it vanished, leaving the ship and the Aurora unharmed. The chamber fell silent. The shields stabilized. The footsteps on the hull slowed, then paused, as if approving the crew's actions. Milo exhaled, relief washing over him. "We did it. We survived." Tessa's eyes shone. "And the ship, it trusted us. It guided us. It recognized our courage, intelligence, and adaptability." Ilara smiled, pride swelling in her chest. "Humans can face the unknown. We can survive the impossible, and we can learn from every challenge." "That's who we are." For a moment, the crew simply stood in the chamber, listening to the soft hum of the ship and the faint echo of footsteps above. The presence had not left. It remained, watching, guiding, and perhaps even approving their efforts. Tessa's voice was quiet but filled with awe. "Captain, we have access now. The ship's heart is open. It will reveal more, its knowledge, its history, and perhaps even its purpose." Ilara placed a hand on the central console. "Then we continue. We explore. We learn. We honor those who came before us, and we prove that humans are capable of more than anyone ever imagined." Milo nodded, still amazed by the experience. "We've faced a threat that destroyed civilizations before, and we survived, using our minds, our courage, and our teamwork. That's human strength." The footsteps on the hull above shifted one last time, soft and deliberate. The presence remained, a silent companion, acknowledging the crew's success. Ilara looked at her team. "This is just the beginning. The ship has more to teach us, and beyond it, there are challenges even greater. But humans, we adapt, we survive, and we thrive." As the crew of the Aurora prepared to explore deeper into the ship, they knew that the external threat was only the first of many. But they had learned a crucial lesson. With intelligence, courage, and teamwork, humans could face the unknown and conquer it. The abandoned ship, once silent and foreboding, now hummed with life, acknowledging the humans who dared to enter its halls. And the adventure, far from over, promised discoveries and challenges beyond imagination. The central chamber pulsed with energy, soft light radiating from the walls as if the ship itself were alive and aware of their every move. Captain Ilara, Tessa, and Milo stood before the final set of panels, the culmination of all their effort, knowledge, and courage. The footsteps on the hull above had become steady, deliberate, almost ceremonial. The presence, whatever it was, watched and waited, recognizing the humans who had proven themselves capable of survival and intelligence. "This is it," Ilara said quietly, her hand hovering over the main console. "Everything the ship has is here. Knowledge, technology, maybe even its secrets. But one more challenge remains. I can feel it." Tessa nodded, her fingers tracing the glowing symbols. "The ship, it's preparing for something. The logs mention a final test. The entity we faced before, it was only a warning. The real danger is yet to come." Milo checked the energy readings. "The anomaly generator, the shields, everything is stable. But there's a massive spike in energy beyond the ship, larger than anything we've encountered. Whatever it is, it's heading straight for us." Ilara's eyes narrowed. "Then we use everything we've learned. Humans survive by thinking, adapting, and acting together. That's what we do now." The viewports revealed the approaching threat, a colossal entity drifting in the void, darker than space itself, radiating immense power. Its presence pressed against the ship's shields, testing every ounce of energy they had managed to stabilize. The anomaly generator had bought them time, but this was the final confrontation. "Captain," Tessa said, voice tight with anticipation, "the ship has an array of systems we can use. Some are defensive, some offensive in a way. We just need to coordinate perfectly." Ilara nodded. "Then we do it, step by step, together." Milo ran his hands over the consoles, redirecting energy to the ship's shields and propulsion. "We can manipulate the anomaly generator to create a spatial trap. If we lure the entity into it, we can redirect it without direct combat." The footsteps above them shifted in rhythm with their preparations. The presence seemed to approve their plan, giving subtle cues as though reminding them to stay precise, to act intelligently. Ilara took a deep breath. "Humans are capable of more than machines, more than any force we've ever faced. Intelligence, courage, adaptability, These are our strengths, and we'll use them now. Tessa activated the sequence, the symbols on the panels aligning into a coherent pattern. Energy flowed through the ship like a river of light, converging on the anomaly generator. The colossal entity approached faster, pressing against the void with relentless momentum. Milo shouted over the hum, "We have seconds! Divert all excess energy to the generator, now!" The crew worked in perfect synchronization. Tessa guided the panels, decoding the final sequence. Milo monitored the cores, ensuring stability. Ilara coordinated their actions, timing everything precisely. The footsteps above mirrored their movements, soft and rhythmic, almost like encouragement. The entity hesitated, sensing the spatial distortion forming ahead. Its immense presence pressed against the void. But the human's ingenuity had created a trap it could not ignore. Slowly, it moved forward, drawn into the anomaly with a strange, inevitable pull. Light flared across the void as the spatial trap activated, enveloping the entity. It fought briefly, its energy surging against the distortion, but the human's careful planning held. With a final powerful pull, the entity vanished into the anomaly, leaving the ship and the Aurora unharmed. The chamber fell silent. The ship hummed with a gentle pulse, energy flowing steadily, stable and safe. The footsteps on the hull above became soft and even, like a heartbeat approving their success. Milo exhaled, relief flooding through him. "We did it. We survived. And the ship, it recognizes us." Tessa's eyes glowed with wonder. "Captain, the final logs. The ship is revealing its history completely. The crew who built it, their journey, their discoveries, their knowledge, everything preserved. And now, it trusts us to carry it forward." Ilara placed a hand on the console, feeling the energy pulse through her fingers. Humans face the unknown. We adapt. We learn. We survive. That is our strength. And now we inherit this knowledge, this technology, and the responsibility to explore further. The humanoid figure shimmered one last time in the center of the chamber. Its form was more defined than ever, almost human, but glowing with energy that spoke of centuries of advanced knowledge. It gestured toward the logs, the star maps, and the crystalline devices. Then it receded, leaving behind a profound sense of approval. Milo looked around in awe. "This ship, it's more than a vessel. It's a library, a protector, a teacher, and it chose us to continue its mission." Tessa smiled softly. "And the lessons it taught us. Courage, intelligence, adaptability. Those are the core of humanity. The ship saw it, tested it, and confirmed it." Ilara nodded, a proud smile on her face. "Humans are capable of extraordinary things. We learn from the past, face the unknown, and rise above it. That's what makes us strong. That's what makes us human." The crew spent hours exploring the ship's systems, documenting its history, and accessing the vast archives it preserved. They discovered star charts for uncharted systems, energy technologies far beyond their own, and logs of civilizations long forgotten. Every discovery reinforced the truth. Humans with curiosity, courage, and intelligence were capable of mastering even the most complex and mysterious challenges. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, but the Aurora and its crew no longer felt small or insignificant. They had faced the unknown, survived the impossible, and emerged stronger. The abandoned ship, once silent and foreboding, now pulsed with life and purpose, a testament to the humans who had dared to enter its halls. Ilara stood on the bridge, looking out at the void. "We've proven ourselves, but this is only the beginning. There's so much more to explore, more knowledge to uncover, more challenges to face. And humans, we will face them all." Milo joined her, holding a device that recorded their findings. "Captain, this ship, it will change humanity's understanding of the universe. We've learned so much, and we've survived because we worked together, thought clearly, and stayed courageous." Tessa added, "And because we were human. That's the key. Intelligence, bravery, curiosity, those are the qualities that will guide us forward, even in the darkest corners of space." Elara nodded. "Then let's prepare. We have a ship full of knowledge, a path forward, and the courage to face the unknown. The universe is vast, and humans are ready for it." The footsteps on the hull above faded gradually, leaving only the steady hum of the ship. The presence that had followed them, tested them, and guided them had acknowledged their success. It lingered, a silent guardian and witness to humanity's courage. The crew of the Aurora had learned something profound. Humans were not just survivors. They were explorers, innovators, and problem solvers. They could face challenges far beyond imagination, adapt, and triumph. As they prepared to leave the abandoned ship, now fully awakened and functioning, Elara reflected on their journey. "Curiosity brought us here. Courage kept us alive. Intelligence allowed us to succeed. That is the essence of humanity, and that will carry us forward into the stars." The ship, once abandoned and silent, now stood as a beacon of human ingenuity and resilience. Its knowledge, its systems, and its lessons would guide the crew and humanity toward new horizons. And above them, on the hull, the faint echo of footsteps reminded them of one truth. The universe is vast, full of mysteries and challenges, but humans, curious, courageous, and intelligent, are capable of facing anything. The adventure was complete, yet it had only opened the door to countless new journeys. The Aurora and its crew moved forward into the stars, carrying the legacy of the ship and the undeniable proof that humanity could rise above the unknown, thrive, and leave its mark across the universe. Humans had triumphed.